In a world where words seem to lose their value, where noise and superficiality dominate, some questions arise. Is it possible to show our value without saying a single word? Is it possible to know the value and intentions of those around us? Beyond words, the answer, according to the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, is a resounding yes. The Stoics believed that courage was one of the main qualities a human being should have, and that it could be demonstrated through actions instead of words. Today, we invite you to embark on this journey of personal transformation, where you will discover how to recognize your value and become an example for yourself and the world. I invite you to stay until the end, where you will find valuable lessons to strengthen all your plans in the face of any adversity. Now, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, let's start this transformative journey together. Are you ready? In this video, discover how to dive into something real and authentic, understanding your value through a perspective that has stood the test of time, Stoicism. Yes, you heard right. Stoicism is not just about being insensitive or enduring pain, but about valuing what really matters in life, especially in our relationships. Explore techniques to master yourself and unleash all your genuine potential through our Stoic guide, which serves as a powerful tool to face life's inevitable obstacles. Before you start imagining a Stoic as an austere and smileless figure from antiquity, let me clarify things. Stoicism is not about repressing your emotions or being indifferent. It's about understanding what deserves your energy and what doesn't. The way you present yourself deserves your energy, so let's talk about what it means to present yourself with dignity in relationships. Sometimes we try so hard to impress someone that we end up losing ourselves in the process. Dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, all to gain that approval. This is where our Stoic wisdom comes in. Your dignity is not in the clothes you wear or the places you go, but in how you behave, in your actions and choices. Imagine this. You're in a cafe and see two people on a date. One is all ostentatious, trying to impress, while the other is comfortable in their own skin. Which do you think will leave a lasting and genuine impression? That's the power of presenting yourself with dignity. Stoics strive to live with integrity and self-respect. How this translates in our modern world is simple. If you're passionate about something, do your best and let it shine. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about feeling comfortable and secure in your own skin, knowing that you are worthy just as you are. And here's another thing, treat yourself with respect. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. What are you telling the world? That it's okay to be treated the same way. But if you respect yourself, value your time, your energy, your emotions, you're sending a loud and clear message. I am worthy of respect, and I expect to be treated as such. In the context of relationships, it's not just about how you see yourself or what you say, it's about how you react and behave in different situations. Are you reacting with desperation or with dignity? Are you compromising your values just to fit in, or are you holding your ground even if that means standing alone? It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. We are all human. We make mistakes. We have our uncomfortable moments. But it's about how you handle those moments. Do you crumble under pressure, or keep your head up and learn from it? Let's reflect on how we can start to present ourselves with more dignity in our daily interactions. Perhaps one way is to establish clear and healthy boundaries in our relationships, communicating firmly but respectfully what we are willing to accept and what not. This allows us to protect our emotional integrity and establish a standard of mutual respect. Another way to present ourselves with dignity is to learn to say no to things that don't align with our values and priorities. This may involve declining commitments or situations that make us uncomfortable or go against our principles. By doing so, we affirm our right to live according to our convictions, and we show ourselves true to ourselves. Perhaps it also involves treating others a little more kindly and respectfully in our everyday interactions, recognizing the humanity in each person we meet and showing empathy for their experiences and feelings allows us to build more authentic and meaningful relationships. When we start to recognize and value our own dignity, we begin to act in a way that the outside world perceives. This influences how others see us and treat us, creating a positive cycle of mutual respect and appreciation for each individual's dignity. Know your value. You might be thinking, it's just another talk about self-love. But stick with me, because here you won't hear about looking in the mirror and repeating how incredible you are. So, what does Stoicism have to do with knowing your value in relationships? A lot, actually. The Stoics teach us that the main thing is to focus on what we can control and that your self-esteem is 100% under your control. It's not about how many likes you get on Instagram or whether someone sends you a friend request on any other social network. It's about how you perceive and value yourself. Think about it this way. Imagine you are a precious stone. Not everyone knows the value of a rare gem, right? Some might pass by it without realizing what it is, but that doesn't change the gem's value. It remains valuable, rare, and unique. That's your true reflection. That's you, genuine, unique, and valuable. Your value doesn't diminish just because someone doesn't see it. Now, let's be a bit realistic. Everyone here has faced rejection at some point. We've experienced the feeling of not being good enough, especially in our hyper-connected world, where it seems everyone is living their best life. But here's where Stoicism comes in to remind us that your value is not tied to someone else's approval, but to how you live your life, your virtues, and your actions. Are you kind? Are you honest? Are you living in a way you're proud of? Therein lies your true value. The Stoics were big on self-reflection. So take a moment to think about your qualities, not just superficial things, but the deeper values. What makes you feel good? Whether you're compassionate, resilient, or a great listener, these are qualities that form your value. And here's the secret. When you truly know this, deeply and truly, it will change the way you interact in your relationships. You won't tolerate disrespect, not because you're arrogant, but because you respect yourself too much for that. And here's a little Stoic exercise for you. The next time you feel undervalued, instead of falling into a spiral of self-doubt, ask yourself, what are your strengths and values? It's not about becoming arrogant, it's about quietly recognizing that you are worthy, without needing external validation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors, says you have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When we talk about relationships, we enter an area where recognizing our own value becomes crucial. It's important to understand that our value is not determined solely by others' external perception, but resides intrinsically in our own perception of ourselves. It's a daily reminder, a constant practice that invites us to cultivate and nurture our self-esteem and internal confidence every day. Upon waking up, we have the opportunity to affirm ourselves in our worth, regardless of others' opinions or judgments. It's about reminding ourselves that we are valuable beings worthy of love and respect, not because someone else says so, but because we firmly believe in our inner self. This path towards self-knowledge and self-acceptance leads us to recognize that our value does not depend on external opinions, but comes from our own essence and authenticity. Each step on this path of self-discovery brings us a little closer to understanding our true worth. It's a gradual and continuous process of personal growth, where we learn to recognize and appreciate our strengths, virtues, and unique qualities. As we immerse ourselves in this inner journey, we discover that our worth is not subject to others' approval. Understanding that our value is something we can cultivate and strengthen over time empowers us to take charge of our lives and relationships, frees us from the need to seek external validation, and allows us to live from a place of unshakable self-esteem and confidence. Ultimately, it's about finding strength in our own value, regardless of whether others recognize it or not, and reminding ourselves that we are worthy of love and respect, simply for being who we are. Acting with boundaries. Don't tell me, show me. And this principle applies perfectly when we talk about establishing boundaries. It's one thing to tell someone what your boundaries are, but it's another to really demonstrate them through your actions. Think about it this way. Anyone can say they won't tolerate mistreatment, but the moment of truth comes when you actually face that situation. Do you stand firm on your boundaries, or do you allow them to be ignored? That's where your real power lies. It's not in the saying, it's in the doing. Now, this might not be easy, especially when emotions are involved, but remember what our Stoic friends taught us. Everything is under our control, including the choice of how we react to situations. If someone crosses a line, it's your reaction that defines your boundaries, not your words. For example, if you've made it clear that you value honesty and someone lies to you, how you handle that situation says a lot. Walking away or addressing the issue in a direct and calm manner shows that you take your boundaries seriously, not creating drama, just respecting yourself and being respected in a way that aligns with your values. This approach can change the game in relationships, when people see that you have boundaries that you won't allow to be crossed, and also standards and values that you're determined to enforce. They start to understand what you will and won't accept. It's about cultivating a sense of self-respect and sticking to it. And here's where it becomes truly stoic. It's not just about the big things, but also about the small, everyday boundaries. It's how you react when someone cancels plans at the last minute, or how you handle it when someone takes you for granted. You communicate through actions and calm words that this is not okay. The practice of mindfulness is much more than just being present in the moment. It's about diving deeply into the experience of the here and now, mindfully observing each thought, emotion, and action that arises within us. On this path of self-awareness, we invite ourselves to question and reflect on how our actions reflect our personal boundaries and fundamental values. By being fully aware of the present moment, we give ourselves the opportunity to assess whether our actions are aligned with our boundaries and authenticity. It's a constant process of self-evaluation where we ask ourselves if we are acting according to our deepest principles and values, or if we are deviating from our true self due to external pressures or social expectations. This practice leads us to closely examine each interaction and situation, looking for clues about how we are responding and whether we are being true to ourselves. It invites us to be witnesses to our own boundaries, to recognize when we feel uncomfortable or compromised, and to take steps to protect our integrity and emotional well-being in the small moments of everyday life. Where the true test of our boundaries lies is in these seemingly insignificant situations, where our true nature and the strength of our character are revealed. Therefore, the practice of mindfulness challenges us to be present in every moment, to be aware of how we are reacting to the various circumstances of life, and to cultivate greater clarity and discernment in our actions and decisions as we go about our day-to-day lives and interact with others. We can adopt a somewhat more stoic perspective on how we show and establish our personal boundaries. It's not simply about imposing strict rules or being inflexible in our interactions, but rather about cultivating this internal compass that guides us in how we act and react to different situations. This internal compass, inspired by Stoic principles, invites us to be aware of our own boundaries and values and to act accordingly at every moment. It's not about closing ourselves off to the outside world or building walls around ourselves, but about establishing healthy boundaries that reflect who we are and what we value in life. When we start to live this way, people around us notice. They begin to perceive us as individuals who not only have clear boundaries, but who also respect themselves enough to have them respected by others. It's as if we are sending the message that we are not willing to compromise our principles for the convenience of others. This attitude not only allows us to build more authentic and respectful relationships, but also helps us to cultivate a deeper sense of self-esteem and confidence in ourselves. By living in accordance with our boundaries and values, we become a beacon of integrity and authenticity in a world often filled with uncertainty and confusion. Limiting access. I know this may sound a bit old-fashioned, maybe even a bit strict, but hear me out. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about respecting yourself and understanding your own value. What does Stoicism say about this? Stoicism teaches us the art of self-discipline and control, but not in a rigid and inflexible way. It's about knowing what is really valuable and not carelessly giving it away in a world of instant gratification. This is like a breath of fresh air. Think about relationships, or when we're dating someone. There's often pressure to share everything, our time, our space, our deepest thoughts. But Stoics would advise taking a step back, because something that is easily available often loses its value. It's human nature. If you're always available at the drop of a hat, always saying yes to everything, where's the mystery, the depth, the anticipation? Now, let's talk about how to limit access in a dignified and stoic way. First, it's about how you present yourself. Dress elegantly, but modestly. It's not just about fashion. It's a statement of intentions that says, I value myself. You're not hiding, but you're also not exposing too much. For everything, there's a balance, a sense that I'm more than what you see at first glance. Then, your time and attention. In a world where we're constantly connected, being selective about who gets your time is something powerful. It's not about playing games. It's about saying, my time is valuable and I choose to spend it wisely. If you're with someone, be completely present and engaged, but when you're not, feel good about not being available because you're focused on your own life, your passions, your growth. Stoicism also teaches us about emotional self-control. This doesn't mean you become cold or distant. Far from it. It means that you don't let just anything deeply affect you. You maintain a certain inner calm. You don't give your emotional energy to just anyone. They also have to earn it. And attention, I'm not saying that you become a stoic statue. We're all human, and connection is what makes life rich. But the beauty of taking things slow, of building a connection that's not just based on instant access and immediate gratification, is about building something that has depth, something that lasts. Always remember that limiting access is not about playing with others' feelings or manipulating situations to our advantage. On the contrary, it's an act of deep self-respect and consistency with our fundamental values. Limiting access means demonstrating, not just with empty words, but with concrete actions, that we value ourselves and that we deserve to be equally valued by others. It's a process that involves being a little more selective in our interactions, a little more careful in our decisions, and a little more measured in our expressions. It's about finding that delicate balance between sharing openly and at the same time retaining a part of ourselves, thus protecting our emotional integrity and self-esteem. By adopting this approach, we are following in the footsteps of the Stoics in our modern world of dating and relationships. We are committing to living according to our deepest principles and to establishing clear boundaries that reflect our dignity and self-assessment. And believe me, this approach makes all the difference in how we are perceived and treated by others. By valuing ourselves and acting with the firmness and consistency of the Stoics, we are sending a clear message to the world around us that we deserve to be treated with respect and consideration, and that we are not willing to compromise our integrity for fear of loneliness or lack of acceptance. Focus on actions, not words. As we have explored, Stoicism is about practical wisdom. It's about judging people by their actions, not just their sweet words. We live in a world full of charming words and empty promises, especially when it comes to relationships. But Stoics tell us to look beyond that. They teach us to observe actions because they reveal the truth. Think about it. It's easy to say all the things we believe are right, or what others want to hear, to make promises, to paint a future that sounds perfect. But are they leading by example? Do their actions back up their words? That's where the real story is. Let's be realistic for a moment. We've all been there. As soon as we meet someone, they start telling us all these beautiful and amazing things, and we get carried away. But later, over time, the actions don't match. They say they'll call and they don't. They make plans and cancel them at the last minute, yet their words strongly grip us. Here's where our inner Stoic self needs to step in. Stoicism teaches us not to get carried away by words, nor to be overwhelmed by emotions. It's about being rational, seeing things as they are. If someone's actions are not consistent with their words, that's a red flag. It's the universe's way of saying, hey, pay attention. Something's wrong here. This shift in focus truly transforms the dynamics of our relationships. Instead of immersing ourselves in romantic words and promises, we start paying attention to the subtler details, like how they react in moments of stress, whether they fulfill what they say, whether they are present for us not just in words, but in a genuine and tangible manner. And here lies the truly fascinating part of this process. When we focus on actions, we set a standard and send a clear and resounding message that says, I'm not just listening to what you say, I'm watching what you do. People around us realize that they can't simply recite sweet words to gain a place in our lives. They must demonstrate their value and true intentions through concrete and consistent actions. This change in perspective empowers us to discern with greater clarity and wisdom in our relationships, allows us to recognize the gap between words and deeds, and helps us build more authentic and meaningful bonds based on mutual trust and genuine respect. Ultimately, it leads us to cultivate healthier and more satisfying relationships, where the consistency between words and actions is crucial. It's important to remember that this is not about adopting a cynical or suspicious stance towards all the people around us, but rather about exercising an appropriate level of discernment and prudence to protect our heart and inner peace with a layer of Stoic wisdom. This wisdom invites us not to let our emotions dictate our actions, but to remain firm in our principles and fundamental values. It's about finding a healthy balance between heart and mind, between passion and reason. In this sense, it's essential to remember that we should observe people's actions, listen to their words, adopt a Stoic attitude in love, which involves being rational, observant, and wise in our interactions and personal relationships. It's about recognizing that, at the end of the day, It's the concrete actions that truly reveal people's feelings and intentions, much more than mere words. Therefore, by committing ourselves to this philosophy of life, we empower ourselves to make more informed and conscious decisions in our relationships based on a deep understanding of reality and an honest appreciation of ourselves and others. Prepare to step away. In Stoicism, there is this beautiful concept of detachment, not in a cold or insensitive way, but in the sense of understanding what we can and cannot control. One of the most powerful things we can control is our decision to stay or leave a situation that is not suitable for us. Here we also refer to relationships. We've all been in that situation where everything in us says this is not what we deserve, but we stay. Maybe it's the fear of being alone, the fear of change, or simply clinging to the hope that things will change, that they will improve. But here's the historical twist. The true power lies in recognizing that staying in a situation that compromises our values is within our control and we can choose differently. This does not mean that at the first sign of trouble you should abandon everything. Relationships require work, commitment, and patience primarily. It is about knowing your worth so deeply that when something goes against it, you are ready to walk away. It's about having that inner strength, that stoic fortitude to say, I value myself enough not to accept less than I deserve. Being prepared to walk away is an act of self-assertion. It implies having the clarity and inner strength to recognize when a situation or a relationship is not aligned with your core values and your sense of dignity. But let me emphasize that this does not need to be a tumultuous or drama-filled process. It is often a serene and conscious decision, a peaceful understanding that you deserve something better. Knowing that facing the unknown can generate intimidating fear. However, it is in these moments of challenge that we can remember the lessons of the Stoics, who urge us to embrace adversity with courage and to accept that life is in constant change. Recognizing that you have the courage to let go of what does not serve is like making space for new opportunities and experiences in your life. It's like clearing the path for personal growth and renewal. It is important to understand that you are not clinging to a situation out of need or fear. You are making the conscious decision to honor your own emotional well-being and happiness. By having the courage to leave what no longer nourishes you, you are taking a step forward toward a brighter and more satisfying future. You are saying yes to yourself and to the possibilities that await you beyond the known. So, as we reflect on the idea of being prepared to walk away, let us remember that this act of courage and authenticity allows us to open ourselves to new opportunities and experiences in life. It reminds us that we deserve to live fully and that we have the power to create the kind of life we desire. As we savor our coffee and let these reflections settle in our minds, let us remember that being prepared to walk away does not imply adopting a cold or distant attitude towards others. On the contrary, it is about manifesting self-love and deep respect for ourselves, which empowers us to recognize and defend our own boundaries and needs by saying, I deserve something better. We are not issuing a derogatory judgment towards others, but reaffirming our own value and dignity. It is about recognizing that we deserve relationships that respect us and propel us toward personal and emotional growth. By having the courage to walk away from what does not serve us, we are affirming our self-esteem and honoring our deepest needs. In this process of being ready to walk away, we also cultivate the ability to discern what we truly value in our relationships. It allows us to identify harmful or toxic patterns and make decisions aligned with our well-being and long-term happiness. Therefore, let us remember that being prepared to walk away is an act of self-love and an expression of our commitment to a full and authentic life. It is a constant reminder that we deserve to be treated with respect and consideration in all our interactions, and that we are willing to defend that right with determination and firmness. The power of no. In Stoicism, there is a strong emphasis on personal integrity and the courage to defend your principles. This directly applies to our ability to say no in relationships. It's about knowing what you believe in and not being afraid to maintain your standards, even if it means rocking the boat. Imagine you're dating someone and they suggest something that doesn't seem right to you. Perhaps it's moving too fast or compromising your values in some way. The easy route would be simply to go ahead. But this is where your inner Stoic self needs to intervene and say no at this moment. It's about respecting yourself, your values, and your boundaries. I'm not saying this is easy. On the contrary, it can be incredibly difficult, especially when you like the person. There's always that voice in the back of your head saying, what if this drives them away? But here is where we need to be brave. Stoicism teaches us about courage not only to face external challenges, but also the internal ones. Saying no is not just about having self-respect. It's about showing that you value yourself enough not to settle for less than you deserve. Surely you could lose them, but here's the key. If saying no to something that goes against your values drives someone away, then maybe, just maybe, they were not right for you. This approach can really change the dynamics of a relationship when someone sees that you are not afraid to say no, that you are not there just to please them at the expense of your own values. It changes their perspective and shows that you are someone who respects yourself, someone who values themselves. And here is another Stoic twist. Rejecting something contrary to our values is not just about setting boundaries with others, it's also about being honest with yourself. It's about recognizing what you truly want and not wanting to compromise on a relationship exactly. It's about not letting the fear of being alone lead you to make decisions that are not right for you. Saying no is actually an act of authenticity and self-affirmation that allows us to establish healthy boundaries and stay true to our fundamental values. It's a manifestation of living with integrity, as the Stoics taught us. They reminded us of the importance of standing firm in our convictions and acting in coherence with our principles. When we say no, we are honoring our authentic needs and desires instead of yielding to external expectations or the demands of others. We are asserting ourselves and setting a precedent for relationships based on mutual respect and genuine understanding. It's crucial to say that saying no does not mean being selfish or insensitive towards others, but rather it's a form of self-care and authenticity. By establishing clear boundaries and expressing our needs honestly, we foster healthier and more meaningful relationships where both we and others are valued and respected for who we truly are. So, let's remember that it's perfectly fine to say no. It's an expression of self-love and an important step toward building authentic and satisfying relationships. By embracing our ability to say no when necessary, we position ourselves in a place of personal power and allow ourselves to live with integrity and authenticity in all our interactions. Healthy skepticism and Stoicism. Stoics try to see things as they really are, not as they are expected to be. In the world of love and dating, you might wonder if this is relevant. We've all heard someone say the words we want to hear, as if they were the right ones, and we want to believe them, ignoring the warning signs waving in the background. This is where our inner Stoic self comes into action. Having a good dose of skepticism is like having a superpower. It doesn't mean you're negative or cynical. It's about keeping your feet on the ground and not taking everything at face value. It's about observing, questioning, and not diving headlong without thinking a bit. Imagine this scenario. You meet someone and think they're great. They're saying all these wonderful things to each other, planning a future together. However, only a few weeks have passed since they met. Your stoic side would say, "Go slow, don't rush. Let's see if their actions match their words and how things unfold." This skepticism is not about bombarding the other person with questions or doubting every move they make. It's more about being conscious, listening to what they say, and also observing what they do. It's about taking the time to really get to know someone, to see if they are consistent and if they are genuine. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "mind over body" so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Stoics greatly valued the use of logic and reason, not simply being carried away by emotions in relationships. This is crucial. It's true that finding the balance between our emotions and logic can be quite a challenge in relationships. However, by cultivating a bit of skepticism, we can give space to our rationality to assess situations more objectively and clearly. By maintaining a certain degree of skepticism, we don't get carried away by the emotional current of the moment, but make decisions based on reality and our genuine needs. This allows us to discern between what is beneficial for us and what could represent a threat or an obstacle to our emotional well-being. Healthy skepticism and stoicism. Stoics try to see things as they really are, not as they are expected to be. In the world of love and dating, you might wonder if this is relevant. We've all heard someone say the words we want to hear, as if they were the right ones, and we want to believe them, ignoring the warning signs waving in the background. This is where our inner stoic self comes into action. Having a good dose of skepticism is like having a superpower. It doesn't mean you're negative or cynical. It's about keeping your feet on the ground and not taking everything at face value. It's about observing, questioning, and not diving headlong without thinking a bit. Imagine this scenario. You meet someone and think they're great. They're saying all these wonderful things to each other, planning a future together. However, only a few weeks have passed since they met. Your stoic side would say, "Go slow, don't rush. Let's see if their actions match their words and how things unfold." This skepticism is not about bombarding the other person with questions or doubting every move they make. It's more about being conscious, listening to what they say, and also observing what they do. It's about taking the time to really get to know someone, to see if they are consistent and if they are genuine. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "mind over body" so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Stoics greatly valued the use of logic and reason, not simply being carried away by emotions in relationships. This is crucial. It's true that finding the balance between our emotions and logic can be quite a challenge in relationships. However, by cultivating a bit of skepticism, we can give space to our rationality to assess situations more objectively and clearly. By maintaining a certain degree of skepticism, we don't get carried away by the emotional current of the moment, but make decisions based on reality and our genuine needs. This allows us to discern between what is beneficial for us and what could represent a threat or an obstacle to our emotional well-being. Moreover, skepticism gives us the opportunity to protect our heart from potential disappointments or emotional damage by not rushing into situations without having properly assessed the circumstances. It's not simply about erecting barriers or walls around our heart, but about opening doors and discernment. By being a bit skeptical, we can stay alert and conscious of our emotions, allowing us to explore new connections with a clear mind and a protected heart. Embracing imperfections. Stoicism, as a philosophy of life, urges us to tune into the very essence of existence, to flow with the natural rhythms of the universe, and to embrace reality with serenity and acceptance. In the context of love, these teachings take on profound and transformative relevance. By adopting a Stoic perspective, we recognize that both we and our loved ones are imperfect beings, subject to the vicissitudes of life and human limitations. Instead of seeking perfection in the other or in ourselves, we embrace imperfections as an integral part of the human experience. We value authenticity over appearance, finding beauty in vulnerability and sincerity. By accepting these imperfections with compassion and understanding, we create space for mutual growth and genuine connection. The practice of acceptance and understanding grants us the opportunity to cultivate solid and meaningful relationships where genuine connection and mutual support are fundamental pillars. Instead of fighting against reality or trying to shape others according to our desires, we learn to adapt and flow with the circumstances that present themselves, finding a deep sense of peace and satisfaction in the present moment. By practicing acceptance, we recognize and embrace both our own imperfections and those of others. We accept that we are human beings with limitations and that it is natural to make mistakes and face challenges in our relationships. Instead of judging ourselves or others, we allow ourselves to be compassionate and understanding, acknowledging that we are all doing the best we can with the tools and resources we have at a given moment. Understanding invites us to put ourselves in the place of others, to empathize with their experiences and struggles, acknowledging that each individual has their own story, their own wounds, and their own motivations, and we strive to understand their perspective with compassion and empathy. By doing this, we strengthen the bonds of connection and trust in our relationships, fostering an environment of mutual support and unconditional understanding. Ultimately, the practice of acceptance and understanding allows us to cultivate more authentic and meaningful relationships where love and connection naturally flourish in an environment of mutual acceptance and respect. As we learn to flow with circumstances and embrace reality as it is, we find profound satisfaction and fulfillment in our relationships, allowing love to bloom in all its splendor. By honoring and celebrating our shared humanity, we embrace the richness of our interpersonal connections and recognize our deep interconnection with all beings. This approach invites us to cultivate compassionate and understanding love that transcends the limits of the ego and embraces the diversity and uniqueness of each individual. As we recognize that we are all navigating the journey of life together, we become allies and companions of the journey for those who cross our paths, committing ourselves to support each other through the highs and lows of existence, both in moments of joy and celebration, as well as challenges and difficulties with equanimity and empathy. This type of love knows no boundaries or limits, as it transcends barriers of difference and separation. We unite in the shared experience of humanity, recognizing our unity in diversity, and finding a deep sense of connection and belonging in our interaction with others. By embracing this compassionate and understanding love, We nourish deeply meaningful and enriching relationships that provide us with support, comfort, and joy in our life journey. Instead of focusing on ourselves, we direct our attention to others, offering our loving and understanding presence as a beacon of hope and comfort in a world often turbulent and chaotic. In summary, Stoicism invites us to embrace reality as it is, finding beauty and meaning in every experience, including loving relationships. By practicing acceptance, understanding, and compassion, we cultivate authentic and deeply satisfying relationships rooted in genuine connection and unconditional mutual support. Never chase. This relates beautifully to everything we have discussed, especially when viewed through our Stoic lens. In Stoicism, there is a great emphasis on focusing on what is within our control and letting go of what is not. This philosophy is incredibly powerful when applied to relationships, as it involves understanding that chasing someone who is pulling away is not only futile, but also not aligned with self-respect and our own value. Imagine this scenario. You're dating someone and things seem to be going well, but then they start to pull away. Many of us have been in similar situations and wanted to chase to try to close that gap. But this is where our Stoic teachings come in. The Stoics would say, wait, why are you chasing what is not under your control? What happens to your dignity, your self-respect, and your mental peace? Chasing someone who is pulling away is like trying to capture water without it escaping through your fingers. It's ineffective and leaves you feeling empty. However, here's the key. When you have the courage to let go of what does not serve you, you are making room for something better. It's like clearing the clutter to make room for freshness. Although it may be challenging to distance yourself from what does not nourish you, it is an act of self-love and authenticity. The Stoic focus is to remain firm in our own value. If someone is drifting away, let them go. It's not about being cold or insensitive. It's about recognizing that you cannot control how someone else feels or acts. You can only control how you respond. Let's be honest, this is not easy. It takes a lot of strength not to chase, not to give in to that impulse, but it's about trusting that if someone really wants to be with you, they will be. When you stop chasing, you start focusing on yourself, on your own life, and amazing things happen. You attract people who are drawn to that strength and confidence you radiate. It's as if you're sending a signal that says, I am worth it. Let's be stoic in our approach to relationships, respecting ourselves and focusing on what we can control. It's about finding peace within ourselves, not validation from someone else. You have the power to choose how you react to the world around you. Remember that you are the architect of your own dignity, the guardian of your self-esteem. Embrace that power. Let your actions, your choices, and your boundaries speak to the incredible person you are. These are some of the ways you can demonstrate your value and recognize the value of others by following the advice of Stoicism through actions, not words. Remember, courage is not something that is said, but something that is demonstrated through actions. I hope this topic has enlightened your path. If so, do not wait any longer and delve deeper into your own being in what you are experiencing. Unconditional love. Unconditional love is a fundamental concept in Stoic philosophy that goes beyond simply loving others without expecting anything in return. It involves recognizing and valuing the intrinsic value of each human being, regardless of their actions, achievements, or circumstances. By practicing unconditional love for ourselves, we commit to accepting and valuing ourselves as we are, with our virtues and flaws. This involves cultivating a relationship of compassion and acceptance for ourselves, freeing us from excessive self-criticism and negative judgment. Furthermore, Unconditional love for others involves going beyond just showing empathy and compassion for their experiences and struggles. It also involves accepting people as they are, without trying to change them or judge them for their actions or decisions. Being there for others in their moments of need involves much more than simply offering a shoulder to cry on. It's about cultivating a genuine and deep connection with those around us, meaning being willing to actively listen, to understand their concerns and fears, and to offer the necessary support, even when it means stepping out of our comfort zone. By practicing this type of unconditional support, we are not only demonstrating our empathy and compassion for others, but we are also strengthening our own relationships. When we commit to being there for others in their moments of need, we are building lasting bonds based on mutual respect and trust. It is important to remember that unconditional support is not limited only to times of crisis. It also involves being there to celebrate the triumphs and achievements of others, sharing their joy and celebrating their successes. It is a weapon of solidarity and camaraderie that further strengthens our bonds with those around us. A key practice of unconditional love is learning to forgive and let go of resentment or bitterness towards those who have hurt or disappointed us. This involves recognizing our own humanity and that of others, understanding that we all make mistakes and face challenges in life. Forgiving does not mean justifying the actions of others or ignoring the harm they have caused, but rather freeing ourselves from the emotional weight we carry by clinging to resentment, allowing us to move forward with compassion and inner peace. By practicing unconditional love and forgiveness, we are not only strengthening our relationships with others, but we are also growing and evolving as individuals. When we choose to forgive and love unconditionally, we are opting to free ourselves from the weight of resentment and bitterness, opening ourselves to the possibility of significant personal growth. Unconditional love invites us to accept others as they are, with all their imperfections and flaws, recognizing their intrinsic value as human beings. It challenges us to show compassion and empathy for them, even when they have hurt or disappointed us, and to remain open to the possibility of reconciliation and a deeper understanding. Furthermore, forgiveness allows us to free ourselves from the past and move forward with greater clarity and inner peace. By leaving behind resentment and grudge, we make room for personal growth and emotional healing, allowing us to close painful chapters and open ourselves to new experiences and opportunities for genuine love and connection. In summary, practicing unconditional love and forgiveness allows us to build healthier and more meaningful relationships based on mutual acceptance, respect, and personal growth. It offers us the opportunity to experience a deeper and more enriching connection with ourselves and others, and to live a fuller and more satisfying life. Do not center your life completely on another person. In today's society, we often fall into the trap of placing others on a pedestal, losing our own direction in love. By managing your own path, you will see how you become more valuable. No one can harm you without your consent. Do not let others control you. This powerful quote is a reminder that, ultimately, we are the guardians of our inner peace and emotional well-being. In a world where critical opinions and judgments of others can be omnipresent, it is essential to understand that we have the power to choose how they affect us. Owning our minds and emotions is a call to self-reflection and authenticity, to be who we are without fear of external judgment. When we internalize this historical principle, we become masters of our own destiny, and our self-esteem and self-respect flourish, making us more valuable and important to others. Therefore, when facing challenges and criticisms in our lives, let us remember this powerful truth from Marcus Aurelius. No one can harm you without your consent. Stopping initiating conversations in a world where constant communication is the norm may seem challenging, but it has its roots in Stoic wisdom. Philosophers like Epicurus reminded us of the importance of listening more than speaking, allowing others to initiate conversations. By letting others start the conversation, we learn more about them and about ourselves. Always being ready to speak may seem anxious and sometimes egocentric, which often drives people away. Patience and the willingness to let another initiate conversations align with the building of genuine, high-value relationships. This approach, focused on applying Stoic principles in everyday life, is a powerful tool for personal growth and the strengthening of authentic and meaningful relationships. By incorporating concepts such as creating a fear of loss, practicing patience, moderating availability, cultivating independence, and the ability to let others initiate interactions, you are positioning yourself for a more balanced and authentic life. Stoicism, as a philosophy of life, is not limited to influencing how we relate to others, but also drives a radical change in how we perceive ourselves internally. By adopting and applying these principles, we embark on an introspective journey that leads us to discover serenity amid turbulence, to make more conscious and deliberate decisions, and to face challenges with a mental strength that makes us unbreakable. The essence of Stoicism lies not only in how we relate to the inner world, but in how we forge an intrinsic connection with our own essence. By following these precepts, we not only learn to cope with external circumstances, but also enter a path of internal self-knowledge and self-mastery. These principles become an internal compass that guides our decision-making, teaching us to find balance amid chaos, to face uncertainty with calm, and to cultivate the mental resilience necessary to overcome adversity in a significant and profound way. Ultimately, Stoicism translates into an internal transformation that not only shapes our external relationships, but also revolutionizes our understanding and perception of ourselves, allowing us to live a fuller, more authentic life with a deeper purpose. Live according to our values. This is a central practice in Stoicism that can have a profound impact on our relationships. This philosophy reminds us of the importance of staying true to what we consider right and just, including in the context of an intimate relationship. When we apply this concept to our love relationships, it means that we must ensure that the relationship is aligned with our deepest values and principles. This involves reflecting on what these values are for us and how they manifest in our daily life and in our relationship. For example, if we value honesty and trust, then it is essential that our relationship be based on transparency and open communication. Similarly, if we value mutual respect and equality, we must ensure that our interactions with our partner reflect these principles. Making decisions based on our values also means being true to ourselves, even when we face challenges or external pressures in the relationship. It may involve making difficult decisions, such as setting healthy boundaries or ending a relationship that does not meet our ethical standards. When we commit to living according to our values in a love relationship, we are laying the foundation for a meaningful and lasting connection. This commitment not only strengthens our personal integrity, but also contributes to cultivating an environment of trust, respect, and mutual growth in the relationship. Aligning our actions and decisions with our values allows us to act consistently with what we consider important in life and in our interactions with our partner. For example, if we value loyalty, we strive to be faithful and reliable in our relationship. If we value generosity, we look for ways to support and care for our partner selflessly. This congruence between our values and our actions creates a sense of authenticity and sincerity in the relationship. Our partner perceives us as integral and trustworthy, which strengthens the bond of trust between us. In addition, by acting in accordance with our values, we inspire our partner to do the same, which fosters mutual growth and a deeper understanding between both parties. Additionally, living according to our values helps us overcome challenges and conflicts that may arise in the relationship. When we encounter difficult situations, we can turn to our values as a guide to making ethical and constructive decisions. This allows us to resolve problems in a respectful and constructive manner, rather than compromising our principles or acting impulsively. In conclusion, living according to our values in a love relationship not only promotes our own happiness and well-being, but also enriches the connection with our partner by building together on a foundation of integrity and mutual respect. We can create a solid and satisfying relationship that endures over time. Practice virtue. Practicing virtue in a love relationship involves much more than simply acting with honesty, loyalty, compassion, and respect for our partner. It's about committing to being the best versions of ourselves in all aspects of our shared life. Virtue invites us to deepen our honesty, which goes beyond transparency in communication. It means being authentic in our interactions, showing ourselves as we are, with our strengths and areas for improvement. By doing this, we foster an environment of mutual trust where both parties can grow and develop freely. Loyalty in a virtuous relationship not only implies emotional and physical fidelity, but also a lasting commitment to support and be there for our partner in all circumstances. It means being there in difficult times, offering a shoulder to lean on, and a hand to help overcome challenges together. Compassion as part of virtue calls us to put ourselves in our partner's shoes, to understand their perspectives, and to be empathetic with their experiences and emotions. It means being willing to offer comfort and support when needed, and to celebrate their joys as if they were our own. In a relationship based on mutual respect and virtue, an environment of trust and mutual support is promoted. This means not only recognizing the value of our partner as an individual, but also fostering their personal and professional growth, actively listening to their opinions and concerns, seeking to understand their viewpoint, and collaborating in decision-making that benefits both parties. Allow them to invest in you. This is recognizing your uniqueness and value. It's not just about your mere presence in someone's life, but about becoming a significant and essential element in another person's world. This recognition implies understanding that what is easily obtained tends to be undervalued or lightly regarded. Genuine appreciation arises from effort and dedication. When someone invests their time, their emotions, and their energy in your life, a stronger and more enduring bond is created. This process transforms your role from being a mere passerby or curiosity to becoming a genuinely appreciated presence. It's not about desperately seeking the attention or love of others, but about demonstrating that you are a valuable and enriching contribution to their lives, worthy of genuine and authentic interest. Allowing others to invest in you involves giving them the opportunity to make your presence an invaluable aspect of their lives, something they would not want to lose. The words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca resonate with this idea. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor can a man be perfected without trials. This underlines the essence of your value, not just in being, but in being sought after and fought for. Reflecting on the story of Alexander the Great and his teacher Aristotle illustrates how the value of a valuable teaching and the relationship between teacher and student transcend the conventional. Aristotle, a wise philosopher, was not merely a tutor in the life of the young prince, but presented himself as a beacon of knowledge and strategic thinking essential for governing an empire. Alexander, known for his ambition and intellect, understood the value of Aristotle's lessons and devoted considerable time and effort to learning from him. In summary, practicing virtue and allowing others to invest in you are central practices that enrich our relationships, strengthening bonds based on integrity, mutual respect, and joint growth. Authentic and deeply satisfying relationships. Now a word from our sponsor, the Genius Wave. Tap into the ancient wisdom of Stoicism and the cutting-edge breakthroughs of modern science with their unique brainwave optimization program, designed to enhance mental clarity, focus, and cognitive power. As supported by extensive NASA research, this program revitalizes the often neglected theta brainwave, fostering profound learning and intuitive insights. Discover how embracing the Stoic virtues of self-control and wisdom can be amplified through neuroscience, allowing you to access untapped mental reserves. By clicking on the link in the comments section, you not only journey towards personal growth, but also gain exclusive access to this transformative tool. Unlock the secrets to heightened brain function. Don't let this opportunity pass. Embrace the Stoic path to a sharper, more resilient mind today. In conclusion, my friends, as you embark on this journey to the heart of Stoicism, remember that being the rock in the storm is not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them with the unbreakable strength that resides within you. Let these Stoic secrets guide you to a life focused on yourself, resilience, and the profound joy that comes from mastering your own mind. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within you, in your way of thinking." Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.